So when I work on the Uninvited series, I'm really responding to these perceptions that were placed onto these West African female body types through the colonial gaze. And so I call what I'm doing an intervention and trying to reconstruct the narrative that the photographers put together. Oftentimes it's very obvious that the photographers would position them in a way to show their breast or to show a side profile of their rear end and things of that nature. So when I intervene, a lot of times I really had to question my motives as a Westerner, and actually not even from this particular history. And for me, I had to question whether I was trying to cover them up, and what did that mean? For me, the photographs were taking their bodies out of context. You know, it was what we were placing onto them, not that their bodies and being not fully clothed. You know, that's our whole kind of construction of the like Christianized body and all of these things. And so I really felt that I had to examine those motives. But in me intervening with the stories, sometimes I'm interested in preserving certain details to kind of call out the French photographers and the suggestive sexual orientations that they were making, because I look at these photographs as their documents. It's like I'm altering these documents or these images that were supposed to depict some type of truth about the bodies. And I really feel that it's an intense intervention that I'm constantly questioning my motives. A lot of people do see it as empowerment, and I think that that's definitely in the work and it informs it, but I'm in no way trying to be their voice or be their saviors. What's done is done. All we have are these artifacts of this occupation of these bodies, of these lands. And so in me using colonialism as a metaphor for disease, I'm able to just create these counter narratives, and the end product, it may be empowering. And I also had to question too, these figures of these photographs were circulated widely throughout Europe, and even with me recreating these works or working into them, I wonder if I'm even doing the same violence onto their bodies. Within my practice, I'm really honest with myself, and I'm really honest with these investigations. I really, at times, I feel compelled to work with the material, but my working with the material is questioning, what does it mean to speak for someone else? Can we really do that? So the historical present is a term that I use a lot within my practice. It's become a mantra for me. I believe that we're always chained to the residue of the history, and how can we navigate that in the present tense. And I feel like if we don't acknowledge those chains, then we continue to repeat a lot of the violence upon the body, just so many things that in 2015 we shouldn't have to be dealing with anymore. And the historical present for me is really in conversation with this duality that is present in all of my bodies of work, whatever I do. I have this double-edged noose called the Nawanago, and for me that really exemplifies the historical present, because it's hung horizontally at neck height, and anybody can be in any one of the rungs of the noose. And so you're constantly chained to this person or these ideologies, and you have to figure it out, or you both could die, you know? And so for me, the historical present is just like being in conversation with the colonial era photographs, these kind of artifacts of the past, but we can hold them in our hands. We can see them. We can see how they appear at the VMAs and just all of these different places. There's traces of them everywhere. We have this residue everywhere. And that's something that it haunts me and it challenges me and it provokes me to see how can I navigate these things in my work. You know, how can I get people to talk about these things that they don't want to talk about, but not to like, shame on you, you should, you know about this history, but like, no, I'm trying to figure this out too. So, yeah, that's how I would describe the historical present. It's kind of like a spirit or essence or something that I take into the studio with me and something that I just witness using history as my muse. Kenyatta is a very elusive place. It's not just like all of our identities. You can't really say this is my identity in a box. This is who I am in a box. Some people feel comfortable that way, but then you have to question, why do you feel comfortable? My biggest, my favorite thing that people ask is, can I Google it? And I say, well, why does Google have to validate? Well, I'm saying this is my culture, this is where I'm from. You have to Google me to be okay with me. And so, of course, people hear how ridiculous that is. And I say, well, you know what, if you Google me, if you Google Kenyatta, I'm gonna come up because I'm the one that's trying to create this this whole platform. So the project it's definitely conceived by me, but it's not all entirely. And some people say too, they say, Kenyatta, you have so much trust in your work. Like, how do you know that people are gonna, that you invite in are gonna actually show respect? And as I've said before, that anybody that works on the project with me, they're working on something that they're already interested in, but they're using Kenyatta to play. They're using Kenyatta to imagine. And so if you want to sabotage your own play and imagination, go right ahead. But I just think that's something really fascinating about letting people kind of explore their own interests. I talk about improvisational jazz a lot in my work. It's what happens when people get on the stage and play and respond to each other, and then it creates this really beautiful experience. That's what Kenyatta is for me. So you can look at maps, or you can hear stories, or you can look at artifacts, but it's not necessarily about that artifact. That artifact is a stand-in so that we can have a conversation about the what ifs. So I think that was the one that I wanted to definitely say about the project. Yeah.